What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're starting a pet sitting business, then you are in the right place because today we are going to cover all the legalities that you need to know before starting your business. If you're new to my channel, I'm Shelly Beyer, the creator of Pet Brainy, and every week I put out new videos with my best tips and strategies to help you grow your pet business. There are 8 things that I'm going to go over with you so that you know exactly what you need to do when starting a pet sitting business. So the first thing you need to do is you need to choose a business name. Choosing your business name is the most fun part of starting a business. You need to think of a name that you're going to love because it needs to stick with you for a very long time. Now you want to pick something that is short and snappy. You don't want to pick too long of a business name because then when you're creating your domain and everything else, sometimes things get too long. You want to make it easy for people to do Google searches and all of that. You also want to choose a name that people will understand what your business does by hearing the name of your business. That's always helpful. Now, what's kind of fun is you can use business name generators online. You can just do a Google search and use a business name generator if you don't have any ideas of your own. And that's always fun. That's how I came up with the name Pet Brainy, because I had an idea of what my company stood for, but I had a hard time thinking of a good business name. So I put all of my keywords into a business name generator and I came up with Pet Brainy. So that was kind of a fun thing that I could do. But the other thing that you want to make sure and do when choosing a business name is once you come up with a name, you want to make sure that that name is not already taken. So go ahead and just do a Google search and see if what comes up with that name. And then you'll want to go to your state's registry and make sure that it's not taken in your state. So those are 2 things that you want to make sure and do when you're choosing a business name. So that leads us to the second thing you need to do. You need to register your business name with the state. Now, keep in mind that whatever states you do business in, you need to make sure and register with them. So if you're doing business in multiple states, you need to register in multiple states. There is usually going to be a filing fee. I think in Oregon, it was like $100 to register my business in the state of Oregon, but each state is different. So you'll have to check with your state to see what it is. But once you register your business name in that state, then nobody else can take that name. It's yours once you register. So you want to make sure and do that right away when you settle on a business name. So the third thing you want to do is choose a business structure. Now there's a couple different types of business structures. There's informal business structures and formal business structures. So the difference between an informal structure and a formal structure is the level of protection that it gives your business. An informal structure like a sole proprietorship or a partnership, it doesn't give you any protection if something should go wrong. But an LLC or a corporation gives you that barrier between your personal assets and your business assets. So if something should go wrong in your business, then they cannot go after your personal assets. So I highly recommend choosing a formal business structure so that you do have that protection. Now in the pet sitting industry, a lot of people go with the LLCs because they're a lot less expensive and easier to set up, but it still gives you that level of protection. So I would definitely recommend getting set up on a formal business structure. It gives you peace of mind should something ever happen. So the next thing you're going to want to do is get your federal and state ID numbers. Now, the federal is called an EIN number or employer identification number, and it's used for tax purposes, and technically you won't need it until you hire employees. But a lot of different companies, when you're setting up accounts and things like that, they do ask for that employer identification number. So I would just recommend going ahead and getting it set up. You can go to irs.gov and get it set up for free. It's super, super simple. Now, the other one that you'll need is the BIN number for your state. And sometimes it's called an employer identification number for your state. And some states do charge for that. So you'll have to look up what the requirements are. Now, the state one, you don't actually need until you hire employees. So don't even worry about that until you actually hire employees. But go ahead and jump over to irs.gov and get your employer identification number set up. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is set up an operating agreement. Now, the operating agreement establishes the operations of your business. Now, this is super important if you have partnerships. But you still want to create one regardless because it outlines everything, and then that supersedes what the state would put in place if something were to happen. Now, you can create an operating agreement yourself, or you can hire an attorney to do that. There are sample operating agreements online that you can pull up, and those are fine, but you'll definitely want to go through it and make it specific to your business. Just use it as a starting point, but don't go completely boilerplated off of that operating agreement, because you want to make sure that it fits the needs of your business. Now, the reason why you want to have an operating agreement, it leads us to our next thing that you're going to be doing, and that's setting up a business bank account. They won't even allow you to set up a business bank account without an EIN number and an operating agreement. So you'll definitely want to get an operating agreement set up. You want to make sure that you have a business bank account so that you keep your personal expenses and your business expenses completely separate. Don't commingle them. Make sure that you separate those out. Have all of the income flowing into your business bank account and all of your expenses flowing through that. Now that goes with business credit cards too. You don't want to use your personal credit cards to buy business expenses. If you're going to use a credit card for any business expenses, make sure it's a business credit card. Do not use your personal credit card for any of those. You don't want to commingle anything because it makes it much harder when doing your taxes. And if you get audited, then you have this commingled funds and it complicates things with the IRS. So definitely keep them separate. So the next thing you want to do, and a lot of people don't think about this stuff, but it's truly important, is you want to apply for city licenses. Now, a lot of cities require you to pay an annual fee to do business in that city. So you're going to want to check with all of the cities that you're doing business in, because even though they're neighboring cities that you're doing business in, a lot of them require their own fees. So definitely check into that, because if you miss the step, you could get fined and you don't want to get fined. So make sure and check into that. So one of the most important things that you want to do is get business insurance. A general liability policy is not quite enough to cover your pet sitting business. It is a high risk industry, and they have insurance companies that are specific to the pet sitting industry. Some examples are Pet Sitters Associates, Kennel Pro. There's lots of different ones out there. All you have to do is look them up on Google. But what you want to do is make sure that each policy covers everything that you're going to need for your business. So if you're doing large animal, you want to make sure that it covers that. Or if you're doing pet transport, you want to make sure that it covers that. So those are certain things that you want to be looking for. So most of these insurance companies do provide the option of dishonesty coverage. Now, a dishonesty bond is used in the event that something is stolen in somebody's home. Now, this is for employees, so you don't actually need this coverage until you hire employees. It's way cheaper if you just buy it through the same policy. So you'll definitely want to look into that when deciding on a policy. Now, next week, we're going to dive deeper into insurance policies and what types of insurance you may need for your business. But I at least wanted to cover pet care insurance because that is super important to get before you even start seeing clients. Now, there's lots of different things that can pop up as a pet sitting business. One of the things that happened to me, and I would have never thought this could have happened, but one of my employees went to a pet sitting job, and when the client came home that night, the water was left on. Now, my employee was a retired RN that there is no way that he could have left that water on, and it was running full blast on hot, and the spigot was turned towards the counter. Now, we know that he did not do this, but the client is accusing him of doing this. Thankfully, I had insurance, and the insurance company is taking care of all of that. And it did end up going to court, and they're taking care of all that. So this is just a prime example of what can happen that is so unexpected, but you want to have insurance to cover that. And plus, you also want to have a formal structure so that they can't go after personal assets if you lose in court and the insurance doesn't pick it up. So this is just an example, but there's lots of things that can come up. So there you have it, 8 legal formalities that you need to take care of when starting a pet sitting business. Now, I know starting a pet sitting business can seem extremely overwhelming. There's a lot to do to get set up properly. Now, if you need more help, join the Pet Brainy Circle, because the Pet Brainy Circle walks you through step by step how to set your business up and teaches you how to automate your business in every step that you need in order to grow a successful pet sitting business. But not only that, you get the community of other pet sitting business owners that can help you navigate through the journey of growing a pet sitting business. So definitely join us in the Pet Brainy Circle. We'd love to see you there. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every week when I put new videos out. If you think your friends would enjoy these videos, share it with your friends. I'd love to see them. As always, I appreciate you being here. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.